December 18, 1944, 4:30 hours, Stoumont, Belgium. Major Klaus Weber, commander of the 21st Panzer Regiment, crouched in the icy fog, his Panther tank's engine silent, out of fuel. His driver, unturfledwebel Fritz Lang, tried the starter again. Nothing, the gauge read empty. "Herr Major, we're dry," Lang whispered, his breath visible in the Ardennes chill. Around them, 82 tanks, 120 half-tracks, and 4,800 men of the 1st SS Panzer Division, the spearhead of Hitler's desperate Operation Watch on the Rhine, sat paralyzed. Weber's radio crackled. "Hold position, capture enemy supplies." Through the mist, he saw the prize, Staumont's U.S. supply depot, abandoned by the 30th Infantry Division in their retreat. Rows of olive-drab jerrycans gleamed, 80,000 gallons of high-octane gasoline, enough to fuel his regiment to the Meuse River. His men cheered, siphoning fuel into their tanks, but as Weber read a captured manifest, his heart sank. The depot was a fraction of the Allies' reserves. First Army held 4.2 million gallons nearby. "We've stolen a spoonful from their sea," he wrote in his log. "The Reich is finished." The Allies' fuel juggernaut, Operation Pluto, Red Ball Express, and American oilfields would bury Germany's last offensive in a flood of gasoline, proving that factories, not panzers, won the war. Germany's fuel famine, a doomed offensive. By December 1944, the Wehrmacht was a shadow of its 1941 blitzkrieg. Allied bombings had gutted Germany's synthetic fuel plants, Luna Perlitz Blechhammer, down to 7% capacity, producing 12,000 barrels daily versus 1943's 175,000. Romania's oilfields, captured in 1941, yielded 4 million barrels yearly, but Allied raids cut pipelines to a drip. A Panther tank burned 1.5 gallons per mile, a Tiger II 3.2. The Luftwaffe, with 1,200 sorties monthly, was dwarfed by the Allies' 140,000. Generalmajor Otto Remer, logistics chief, warned, "Fuel is our death knell. Without it, we're a horse-drawn army." Hitler's Ardennes plan gambled on capturing Allied supplies. Weber's regiment, allocated 40,000 gallons for a 70-mile push to Antwerp, received 22,000, enough for 30 miles. The orders were clear: seize U.S. fuel or fail. At Stoumont, Weber's men found a miracle: 80,000 gallons neatly stacked, left behind with sea rations and coffee pots still steaming. "This is our salvation," Weber radioed. His adjutant, Hauptmann Karl Braun, calculated, enough for 600 miles of operations. But a captured U.S. corporal, smirking, said, "You got pocket change, we got billions." Weber ignored him until he found shipping papers showing the fuel's journey: Texas to Liverpool, Normandy to Stoumont, 5,800 miles in 5 weeks. A single pipeline from Cherbourg pumped 900,000 gallons daily. Weber's log: "They move oceans while we beg for drops." The Allied fuel empire, Pluto and Red Ball. The Allies' logistics were a marvel Germany couldn't fathom. Operation Pluto, pipelines under the ocean, laid 70-mile underwater pipelines from England to Cherbourg, pumping 1.3 million gallons daily by December 1944, enough to fuel 6,500 Shermans for a day. On land, the Red Ball Express roared. 6,000 trucks, mostly driven by African-American soldiers, delivered 12,500 tons daily, including 350,000 gallons of fuel. Each GMC Deuce and a half carried 750 gallons, rolling 24/7 on one-way highways, headlights blazing, defying blackout rules. Fuel dumps every 20 miles held 600,000 gallons each. The Verdun depot alone stored 2.8 million gallons, 35 times Weber's haul. American production dwarfed Germany. The U.S. churned out 1.8 billion barrels of oil in 1944, 50 times Germany's 33 million. East Texas oilfields produced more than all Axis territories combined. Refineries, using catalytic cracking, made 100-octane fuel that gave P-51 Mustangs a 15% performance edge over Luftwaffe planes on 87-octane synthetic. Weber's Panthers, designed for 74-octane, misfired on captured U.S. fuel too rich for German engines. Colonel James Snyder, U.S. First Army Logistics, noted, "Dec. 17, fuel received 1.9 million gallons, issued 1.6 million, reserves up 300,000. While Weber celebrated 80,000 gallons, the Allies stockpiled millions during combat. The fire that broke Weber's spirit. On December 19, Weber's regiment pushed toward La Gleize, chasing another depot rumored to hold 1.5 million gallons, but at 15:30 hours, as his lead tanks crested a hill, a fireball erupted. Captain Robert Ellis, 291st Engineer Combat Battalion, had ignited the depot with white phosphorus grenades. "Burn it all," he ordered. The blaze consumed 1.5 million gallons, 19 times Weber's Stoumont Hall, in a 200-foot inferno visible 10 miles away. Unterfeld Webel Lang recalled, "The major watched the flames, silent. He said, they destroy more in an hour than we'll ever have. We knew then our offensive was dead." Across the Ardennes, Americans torched 9.2 million gallons to deny German capture, twice Hitler's allocation for the entire offensive. At Spa, 2.7 million gallons burned. At Francorchamps, 1.1 million. Weber's men heard the red balls rumble. 6000 trucks, 67 per convoy every 5 minutes. C-47s flew 400 sorties daily, dropping 200,000 gallons to Bostonia's defenders. Weber's log: "Their planes carry more fuel than my regiment possesses. This isn't war, it's annihilation." The human heart of the fuel war. The Red Ball's drivers, 75% African American, were the backbone. Segregated, denied equal rights, they drove 22 hours daily, fueled by grit and stimulants. Sergeant Leary Jackson in Memphis Thunder hauled 1,200 gallons through sleet to Bostonia, dodging Luftwaffe strafing. His truck's slogan, "Hitler's End, gas-powered." Private Aisha Brooks drove a burning tanker 2 miles to save a field hospital, earning a Bronze Star but no headlines. Accidents killed 350 drivers, 5,200 trucks were lost. Yet they kept rolling, proving Nazi racial theories wrong. Weber, watching black NCOs direct convoys with precision, wrote, "Their lesser men run circles around us. Our ideology lies in ruins." French civilians, starved under German occupation, flocked to Red Ball routes, cheering drivers who tossed gum and rations. Resistance sabotage spiked 500% near depots, inspired by Allied abundance. Weber noted, "The French see their liberators' fuel. They know we're doomed." Germany's collapse: the fuel gap widens. By December 22, Weber's regiment, down to 3,000 gallons, abandoned 60 tanks near La Glise. Surrounded by the 82nd Airborne and 3rd Armored with 400,000 gallons between them, Weber surrendered on December 24. His interrogation: "Your fuel broke us. We took 80,000 gallons, a fortune. You burned millions. Your factories mock our courage." Field Marshal Walter Model, reading reports, agreed, "Their logistics are a weapon we cannot counter. We fight scarcity, they wield excess." The Red Ball delivered 412,193 tons in 82 days, including 45,000 tons of fuel. Pluto pumped 210 million gallons total. Cost: $110 million, cheap against the $250 million daily war cost. The Allies captured 120,000 Germans, shortened the war by 6 months, and crushed the Wehrmacht's will. Prisoners stared at passing convoys, some crying. "We fought men," Weber wrote. "You fought us with America's oilfields." Legacy: gasoline as victory's engine. In 1994, Red Ball veterans, mostly African American, were honored with a U.S. postage stamp. Their logistics revolution birthed modern trucking, yellow freight, consolidated freightways built by drivers who learned in France that volume beats scarcity. The lesson: in industrial war, fuel is the ultimate weapon, and America had an ocean of it. Weber's 80,000 gallons were a fleeting dream. The Allies' fuel tsunami, billions of gallons, endless pipelines, drowned the Reich. As Sergeant Jackson said, "We drove victory at 35 mph. The German major learned too late: you can't fight an enemy whose tanks never stop.